Yeah, old school. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, this ain't for everybody. Some of y'all need to hear this. I know you're in the trenches fighting, but check it out. I'm gonna put it down like this so I can help you saints understand. Everything you're going through is all part of the master plan. Or what? You thought cause you got saved everything was gonna be peaches and cream? You better wake up, son. Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream. Faith without works is dead. Read your Bible, you know what it said. He who don't work don't eat. Slackers don't get fed. Yeah, Jesus said he who puts his hand to the plow looks back the same ain't fit. Some of y'all ain't been in the trenches 5 minutes and you about ready to quit. I ain't mad at ya, I'm just hitting you with the real. If you died for me and I was still tripping, now how you think that make you feel? Check this out, deep game, this here's deep. Some of y'all ain't sawing nothing but you started trying to reach. But unto him who is able to possess your fathers by his glory. Struggles might be part of your testimony, but it ain't the end of the story. Now the point is this was prophesied way back in the day. Choir, sing your hook right here and see if the church can relate.
I know we can make it. I know good and well. God can work it out. Work it out. Work it out. Yeah, he'll work it out. I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. God can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. Yeah.
Thinking not strange, the fiery trials are to try you. You say, why you? But your church say, what would Jesus do? Why you asking if he ain't trying to do what he's saying? He told you he was going to have tribulations, but you thought he was playing. 1 minute you're telling how good God is and can't nobody beat your talk. The next minute you're backsliding so fast, look like you're moonwalking. Oh yeah, I'm preaching to myself because I ain't no better. It ain't like I've been following his every word, obeying it to the letter. So we soldiers, we got to remember that. Regroup, stay on point. Yeah, bow down, confess, repent, stay humble, let him anoint. It ain't easy as I thought it was. I'd be lying if I told you that. But it's showing up getting better all the time. Trust me, that's a fact. Ain't nothing we going through that can't be handled. God put that on his son. Like they say, you can shout now if you want to, cause the battle's already won. So while you're going through the valley, don't even trip. You're gonna be on top. Choir, sing the hook line one more again. This time you don't stop.
I know we can make it. We can make it. I know good and well. God can work it out. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. He'll work it out. We can make it. I know we can make it. I know good and well. Oh, yeah. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. If you let him, I know good and well. He can work it out. 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 Oh, he'll work it out. Oh, I know we can make it. We can.
Yeah, we going to pump the brakes right there because I know we going to make it, boy. One way or the other, we going to make it, boy, because there's some crazy-ish going on out there in the world right now. And it's my belief, and I hope it is yours, with Big Boy's power upstairs, you know, we going to find our way through this stuff, boy, because I know in my little old lifetime, I ain't never, ever experienced anything like we dealing with today. So, first of all, I want to say thank you. Welcome to the show. I know you could be someplace else doing something else at this time, so we definitely appreciate you for taking time and coming through and listening to us, and hopefully we could do something in return that could bless and enhance your lifestyle some way, because really this is what this show is all about, you know, is reaching out and, you know, this thing they say, each one teach one. So that's what we're trying to do on this show. Kind of play is motivate, inspire, enhance someone's life, you know what I mean? So that's the whole purpose, you know, and as usual, I'm not going to say usual because that sounds kind of braggadocious. But anyway, we got a great show lined up for you today. This young man joining us, Mr. Rocky Singh, Canula. Definitely has a testimony, definitely has a story, definitely has been living life, and I don't even want to say turn his life around, because whatever his life was and whatever was meant for him to be in his journey, he's definitely done that. But we can definitely say he can contribute and educate a lot of those people out there that maybe turn left when they should turn right. But he's been able to do some things, experience some things, and now he's definitely a successful entrepreneur, businessman, and a spokesperson on a higher level. So anyway, let me see, as I guess with us, Mr. Rocky, the Hair God. Are you with us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Lamont. Thank you for having me, and happy Sunday to you.
Oh, thank you for joining us, man. You know, I definitely appreciate it. Know that you definitely got a testimony, you definitely got a story, and you definitely been on your journey, this thing that we call life.
Definitely.
So,
Definitely.
so yes, I know I always like to start off the show, man, and give, I guess the platform a minute before, we get in all in these questions and stuff. We know you're a successful businessman now, but let's go back to the beginning when Rocky wasn't a successful businessman. So, so where you come from, man? You come from New York, correct?
Yes, sir. I was born in the Bronx. Kind of lived all over from there. It's actually part of the journey, part of the story. I was sent around quite a few boot camps, military schools, different places and facilities all across the world until, I wound up eventually in Alabama State Prison where, that's kind of where the business plan that I actually made, that I actually implemented and run successfully today is that's where that business plan started in Alabama State Penitentiary about 7-8 years ago.
Do you think, people always look down on people that's been in the system, they look down and kind of turn their nose up, but do you feel like that was more harmful to you or more helpful to you?
Oh, that's such a loaded question. So, it made me who I am today. I don't ever want anybody to have to go through this type of things, but I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't go through the things I go through. Then on the other hand, I can give you an example, a personal example from this morning. I recently was blessed to be able to buy my first vacation rental property. And when I'm going on to, list my properties on apps and platforms such as Airbnb, they're denying me, to list with them because of my history as being a felon. So, there's definitely things in society that, that block you and stop you and hurt you. And that's just one thing. There's a number of other things from jobs to loans and things like that where it'll kind of hurt you or stop you or slow you down because, I'm not going to, it did honestly kind of hurt my feelings this morning when that happened, but I'm not going to let it stop me. I'm just going to have to kind of learn to work around it. But you're right. Society definitely has a special place, for people that have felonies and criminal histories, whether it was just a small mistake, anything from just, drugs or property crimes, all that to violence. Once you get caught up in that system and your name is in it, it's very, very, very tough uphill battle to get to grow beyond that and to make a life for yourself.
Definitely. I didn't know that they did background checks on you in order to list the property.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a thing either. What's funny is when I first came to California with my business, wasn't really doing that well, and I did the same thing. I was so excited. I was going to drive for Uber and Postmates and Lyft and all these people. And they all did background checks on me as well. They all denied me for working there. And then Uber took it another step and then said that, they no longer think I'm a safe person to be able even to ride in an Uber. So they canceled my Uber account to get an Uber as a taxi as well when I applied for a job with them. So it's a crazy, crazy world out there.
Wow, that's it. It's amazing. And it just, while I'm listening to you saying what you're saying, I'm also thinking because I have a dozen friends that hasn't always walked on the right side of the street that had background checks and they didn't flag them at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I've actually heard the same thing from other people. And, now at this point I'm at now, I don't really need the Uber job. But, back then when I needed it, it was only 4 years ago, I really, really needed to have, some extra income. And everything happened for a reason, so I just kind of dove headfirst into my business and said, hey, if I can't get a job even like this, then it's time for me to work 10 times harder on my business, and that's what I did. So I kind of just let it go in the past. But yeah, it's sad. I don't know why I got. I didn't have any. I'm pretty open about talking about my charges. I had a distribution of controlled substances charge, from 2009 in the state of Alabama, and we're looking at 2020 now, and it still affects me in certain ways. As far as doing these normal things in society, like driving a car.
Have you tried to get that expunged or taken off your record?
Alabama is one of the few states that don't have any expungement laws for that. I do have a pardon that I've been working on for years now. I think my father back then paid a lawyer named Susan James in Alabama, roughly $10,000 to do that for me, and I can't even get a call back or email back from her. So
wow.
my assistant Miranda, she's actually works down there with pardons and paroles as well. So she's been trying to help me get something done. I've came a long way since then, and I've quote unquote paid my debt to society in prison with fines, with everything else that I went through afterwards, and still kind of stopping me from doing a lot.
Wow. I'm just kind of blown away, man, because I know how society is and the system works, and there's guys out there that have done 100 times worse things that you ever thought about doing, and they get a slap on the wrist and a small fine, They say there's justice, man, but, it's no justice. And I tell people all the time, if the man's no good, it doesn't really matter what his job is. It doesn't matter if he's a judge, if he's a doctor. It doesn't matter what his profession is. If he's a no-good person, he's just a no-good person. That's just what he does for a living.
Exactly.
You have a lot of these guys in public office, and they're very judgmental, prejudiced in a whole lot of ways, and don't even know what you did, why you did, how it comes about you doing what you did. They have really no understanding on it, but they play God all the time, and it's just a shame. So anyway, I'm going to move off of that one because that one's crazy. I see it over and over and over again, and I'm kind of thankful that, I have the show to talk about stuff like this, and maybe
Definitely.
Somebody out there is listening that they get something from your story, and hopefully they won't make some of the mistakes that you did. But my mother used to always tell me that they didn't make jails for horses. What she meant by that, you don't even have to be a bad person. You don't even have to do anything wrong. You could just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and you still can go to jail.
Exactly.
Yes. So anyway, I was reading, man, here on some of your stuff that you done had, I don't know, a lot of injuries, a lot of surgeries, operations and stuff. Was this all due to that other life?
I would say yes. It's all connected. I mean, at a young age, I think at 11, I started getting sent away to these different schools across the world, and away from my family. And one of them, I think even Paris Hilton recently brought a lot of light to. These schools that kind of kidnap kids, take them away, and all kind of abuse, from mental abuse to rape to child abuse to all kind of traumatic physical events that happened there. And that was my childhood from 11 to 17. So by the time I was 17 and getting into college, I was hard-headed, tough. You can't tell me anything. I'm going to do what I want to do. And kind of dove headfirst into that lifestyle of partying, drugs, women, all the above. And I only lasted. They say that most of those people you see out there on the street, that everyone has a nice little run or a little small run, and then they end up in institutions, jails or prisons or dying. And mine was about 4 or 5 years later, I started getting heavier and heavier into selling, and eventually came across cocaine and started selling that quite heavily as well, until I was caught, and I had a federal and state and local task force do a controlled operation sting on me. And a couple months after that, I found myself in prison and going through the system. I did almost a little bit less than a year off and on in jail. I did a couple years in prison, a couple years on house arrest, a couple years of probation, a year of inpatient rehab. All in all, it took a good 9 years of my life dealing with it and getting past it. So yeah, it was a lot of the injuries. The major injury I had when my jaw was basically taken out of my mouth, and I have wires and plates all through my face and my jaw, and all but 4 of my teeth are either fake or have caps on them. That kind of came from just living in Mobile and being kind of like a person that people were very easily to get jealous of, and being a brown kid as well, and these two white bouncers just kind of picked me up and threw me into a concrete sidewalk and just kind of left me there. And I had to, go to the hospital. And if you saw the picture where my face is swollen and my cuts are all over me, that was the picture of like the morning after surgery when the doctors kind of did their best to like piece my jaw back together. They said it was a jumble of bones, and they had to do surgery. Like I think it was an 8-hour surgery just to try to get my jaw back to where it was. And so it was tough. Like I had a good 10 or 15 surgeries, huge ones where they took bone out of my head, took bone out of my hip, redid implants in my mouth and stuff, and all that kind of stemmed from that injury there.
Wow.
I actually went to prison with that injury. And go ahead.
Was that federal or state?
It was state prison. The federal task force, they were all working together, but the people that wanted me, it's kind of a longer story as well. There's a kid that took advantage of my sister and tried to like sexually abuse her and push her out of a moving vehicle, and me and my friends came down and kind of beat him up from New York when I was going to college. We drove down to Alabama, and they wanted me to tell the cops, and the people wanted me to tell who my friends were, and I wouldn't tell them. So the kid that got beat up was actually a judge's son, and that's kind of when they started, wanting to come after me for anything they could. And so that's kind of how, they kept it at the state level. They could have sent it to the federal level very easily, but the state level judges and officers, those are the ones that wanted me, and they wanted me to do time in that Alabama state prison, which I think on a federal level, I don't even think I've done, like more than 10 months or something like that, maybe less than that for a first-time offender, and, controlled by for less than 3.5 grams.
Right. So I'm looking here on your stuff, man. Was you involved in a kidnapping, or were you kidnapped?
So I was kidnapped. When I say kidnapped, it's so basically the parents pay these corporations, these businesses, for-profit businesses, to come take their quote-unquote troubled teens into a facility across the world or wherever they send them to, and you wake up with your hands cuffed, your ankles cuffed, and they escort you from your house, your parents' bed, wherever you are, to these facilities, that are all across the world. The name of the program is called the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs. I believe they've since changed their name a little bit, their leadership a little bit, but they're in operation today. There was actually a protest on Friday.
Let me ask you a question real quick, Rocky, but hold your thought, because I want to get back on that. But this kind of seemed like, why wouldn't this be trafficking? Because your parents gave permission?
Exactly. Like I said, it's a for-profit business, right? So they're very smart about how they make their contracts. Your parents sign probably power of attorney paperwork over, and all kind of liability forms over, to where these schools have full. They can do what they want to do. So that would be great. I mean, I know a lot of people have sued these schools, and I don't think that anyone's ever tried to make a case on trafficking, human trafficking, because it was all done, with the legal paperwork under a proper business name. And these businesses, lobby and donate to, presidential campaigns in the millions of dollars a year as well, especially the owners of these companies, to make sure these child advocacy laws aren't able to be changed and they're able to, still stay in business. It's a very profitable business. They take you to a school in Mexico where they, it's a rundown facility. They must not pay much at all for it. They don't hire professional counselors or teachers or, people that deal with this stuff. They just go out to the city, wherever they are, and hire high school graduates that want to be in a controlling position over kids. And, who have, we're all human. They have issues of their own, and, they're in there trying to deal with quote-unquote bad kids. And, it's really like a living hell on earth. Like, I've been to prison, as we talked about. Prison was basically a cakewalk. Honestly, to compare them two together, I would say prison was almost fun compared to one of these places. Prison, I learned, I had fun. I got to talk to people. I got to use phones. I got to play sports when I wanted to. I had some larger degree of freedom. In these schools I went to as a kid, they were extremely regimented, extremely controlled. You couldn't speak to the person next to you. Couldn't look outside of windows. Couldn't look left or right without permission. You could go use the bathroom at certain times. If you didn't, you got in trouble. The physical abuse from, staff there, the people that were 30, 40 years old, 3 times the size if you was a 12-year-old, was ridiculous. On top of that, like the sexual abuse and the mental abuse and not being able to contact anyone in the outside world, and any letter you wrote, was very heavily edited. If you said anything that they didn't like, they would, rip it up and make you write it again. It was very, very crazy places that are still in operation today.
Wow. That is some stuff right there, and I hear stuff about that, and kids, they just feel lost, and these people, man, they're so wicked and sick, and they just totally just take advantage. And not to mention,
Exactly.
the children, they just go to these places and just come up missing.
Yeah, that too, and that happens a lot of the schools, even in the U.S.
So Rocky, how did you make it past that? How did you get through that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always been a really adaptable type of person. You put me in an environment, situation, and I kind of just, start getting to the point of, okay, what do I need to do to make it through here and get out of here? And it's not to say I wasn't scared, not to say that nights I didn't stay up crying and just wondering if I'm ever going to have anything better or different in life. A lot of that was by the grace of God, higher power, higher energies. It just helped me get through it, and actually, now 30 years later, fast forward, make me part of who I am and give me the ability to share, these things to other people and kind of motivate and inspire them no matter which situation they are in life. But I went to, I think, 7 or 8 different ones like this, each one with varying, levels of, strictness. Military school I went to as well. It wasn't as, controlled as that, but, still a tough place. I didn't honestly want to back down. When I look at my journals, I didn't think I was going to make it out of it.
Wow. What is some of your worst experiences that you had there?
So I remember one time I was kind of sick, and we have these half an hours a day where you have to watch these history documentaries or videos. And as I said that we weren't allowed to speak without permission. We were all sitting there on the ground watching this video about something about Doomsday or World War II or something. And February 14th, these ships came into a harbor. And, me being a kid, I was sitting there, I was like, oh, it's my birthday, February 14th. And, boom, I spoke out of turn, out of permission, so I had to get sent to the first level of punishment, which is worksheets, which is where you sit on the end of a steel bench, the last 4 inches of it, sit up straight and write paper back and forth, left and right, while listening to audio tapes. And I was sick. I was really, really sick. I had a temperature. I was sneezing, coughing, and I was crying. I was like, can I please get some help? And can I go to the infirmary? Can someone help me out? And so the dorm father, which was what they call people that watch over you at certain levels in that program, got on the radio. So finally I was like, my God, I'm going to be taken care of. Someone's going to come help me out. I'll go to the infirmary. I'll get some medicine, something. And instead of that, I felt all of a sudden a total lightness in my body, just like I'd been lifted off the ground. And I'd been lifted off the ground, picked up on my right shoulder, and thrown into the wall behind me by Jason Finlinson, one of the admins there. And he proceeded to kick me all the way down the hallway. I was scuttling on my hands and my butt, just backward, trying to get away from him. And I got put into the second level of punishment room, which is called restraint and restriction, which is where you get put on your stomach with your feet and your hands tied behind your back, facing the wall with your chin on the ground, and a fat guy, Mexican guy, sitting on top of you until they tie your hands up. From that position, you get only let one hand out twice a day to have rice and orange juice. And I don't know how long I stayed there, 1, 2, 3, 4 days. As a kid, it felt like it was forever. But usually it's, between 1 to 5 days they keep you there. And that, that was an early on experience for me. I had a couple other times where I got roughed up and played with and, pushed around and made to do wild things. But that's the one that really sticks out of my memory because I was scared. I mean, this guy, Jason, he was a grown man, big muscle-bound meathead, bragged about how he could bench 300-400 pounds. And, when he was kicking me down the hallway, every time he kicked me, I remember I just stung and I hurt. And then when I got in that room, they don't tell you how long you're going to be in the program or in any punishment. It's all very secretive and it's all very there to brainwash and manipulate you and kind of break you down. As a 12-year-old, I had dreams about that to this day even. So that's kind of one of the biggest things as far as that school. It had, I don't know if I don't know if I blacked that part of it out or this part I don't remember as well, but I do know that Other people faced like actual like sexual abuse as well. But I remember I woke up in the middle of the night one night, and I smelled just a very, very strong odor of beer. And that night in particular, for some reason, the people that slept in the bunk bed next to me weren't there, and I was alone. And I remember waking up with my like shorts pulled down to my knees and seeing this guy towering over me. And I don't even know if I screamed or yelled or what happened, but that's literally the only memory I have of it. I don't know if I blocked it out or I just can't remember it. But I have that memory very strongly, and I don't know beyond that what happened. And these are like big things, like the sexual part, the physical part, but the daily mental games and waking up at 2:00 in the morning to go outside and stand in the rain and count down, and laying down on the ground if a female staff member would pass by and hiding our eyes, and the extreme physical PT we did every day out there, and everything from telling a 12-year-old he has to shave his head is just the mental and the torture was kind of like the craziest part of it.
Where were your parents at while you were going through all of this?
Well, they had sent me there, right? They were at home in Mississippi, and I was at the facility in Mexico. And they didn't know, like the parents don't really know. That's the best thing with these programs. They told my parents, I'd have the best medical care, I'd have the best counselors, I would be riding jet skis and swimming in the pool, during the days, and then going to school. None of that's true. I never saw the pool. I never saw the ocean. I never actually even had a teacher. What we do is they would make us read a chapter in a textbook, and then flip to the end of the chapter or end of the book, and then take that test from that chapter. And then that's how you kind of progress through school like that. So it's basically just teaching yourself the textbook stuff. And that's what I do. Even now, like there's.
They didn't allow any communication between you and your parents?
No phone calls. We were allowed to write one letter a week, and that letter, like I said, is heavily edited. If we said anything that sounded manipulative to them, if we told them, like, we were hit or we were hurt, this is going on, they would rip it up and make us write it again.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that does seem like torture, and this does seem more like, trafficking and anything, and child abuse and a whole bunch of other things that come underneath that. But it's definitely a blessing that you made it through, and you're in a place now, man, where you could help a whole lot of other people in a lot of different ways, because a lot of people can talk the talk, but they haven't really walked the walk. And I know if you talk to somebody else that's out there in the streets, selling drugs, taking penitentiary chances, living that life, you could actually tell them, what's in store for them, because at the end of the day, they're not going to win. The little victories are basically momentarily, but at the end of the day, they're not going to win, because once you get on that roller coaster that you call the system, you're not getting off that roller coaster until they get ready for you to.
Exactly, and like I was just speaking about in the beginning, it's a mark that's left on you forever, basically. Unless you are lucky enough to get a pardon, expungement, and fully restored everything. Like you see, that's Airbnb and Uber are giving me trouble right now. After even it's been 11 years since I've been convicted, So.
Well, God got a mission for you, and obviously that's what you're doing right now. I mean, you're able to help more people than you probably would had you not had those experiences. Because like I said, if you talk to anybody else in your age group or you see that's going through, they're going to hear your story, man. They're going to hear the truth and the power in your words. They're going to know that you know what you're talking about because you've been through it, And it's a big difference when you listen to somebody that's actually been through it versus when somebody's trying to educate you from a book.
Definitely, 100%.
So, moving fast forward, you got past all that whole other life, and what was the last main thing that made you decide to look? I'm just not gonna do this thing no more. I'm gonna jump over here into the entrepreneurial lane and start being this businessman that I know I can be.
So I kind of always had like the entrepreneurial mindset as a kid. Like I would I'll be that kid that would either trade baseball cards, that would open up a lemonade stand on the corner. I would go cut grass and stuff like that. I mean, as I got older, it moved into more like illegal things. I saw an opportunity of, being able to buy, weed in Mississippi for $5 and sell it in Alabama for $20. I did the same things at different schools I went to, selling other substances. And then when I got in college, I started doing the same thing, except, I'd go to spring break, I'd sell hats and perfumes and colognes and shoes and Jordans and this and that. So anything I could do, to make money and to make it on my own terms type of thing. Afterwards I got out of prison, I kind of got back into the same lifestyle pretty quick. And obviously me and my dad used to always butt heads. It was tough for us to, relate and talk, especially for me to him. I never liked listening to him. But one day he came to me after prison, and he came to me kind of really as a friend, like humbly, and just like, hey, Rocky, I know you're out of prison. All your probation is done. You haven't been living at home. We haven't really been hearing from you too much. You haven't been asking for money or anything. Now maybe you should just get out of here. Maybe you should go somewhere else. And I didn't used to always listen to him, and I'm not sure even if I was totally listening to him then, but something came in me and said, Rocky, it took me one night to decide. This was, I think, 2012 or 13, November 3rd. He asked me, and I thought about it, and I said, yeah, you know what? The girlfriends I had at that time, the lifestyle, the circle I was in, hustling again, the identity I created for myself, who I thought I was, the dope boy, party animal, whatever you want to call it. I left it all behind. I didn't know what I was going to do. I was scared. I was worried. I just knew that I didn't want to do this anymore, and I wanted to do something better. And I left, and I went to India and spent, close to 9 months there. In the beginning, I was just living on a farm, living clean, withdrawing from the stuff that I was on and doing my best to, not answer questions from friends and just kind of stay disconnected and figure out, what I was about to do, as a felon with no job history, with no money in his account. What am I going to do? And eventually I came upon a little one-page business plan that I had written when I was in prison in Alabama, and for hair extensions. I was like, let me do a little research on this, and bought a vehicle out there, started going around to the manufacturers, to the distributors, to the markets, to the resellers, and researching about it and talking to them. And eventually I made a Facebook post, and all my homegirls from high school all hit me up like, what? Like, you have hair, Rocky? Hit us up. We'll definitely shop with you. And that's when I made the decision. I formulated a company, and I haven't looked back since. That was 6 years ago, and I've had plenty of ups and downs, plenty of backwards tracks, plenty of struggle, plenty of pain in between there. But eventually it all came together, and I'm here now. And now the biggest thing is, when I do recognize, because we're all human, we all make mistakes, we're all going to have upwards and downward progress, and I recognize when I'm moving backwards now very fast, and if I'm moving to a circle or a situation or even a mindset that doesn't serve me, I can see that very clearly now and kind of stop, pause, reflect, back up, get back in touch with myself and my heart, and start making the decisions that I need to. In between that time, I had another issue come where I had an ex-wife, or a wife I was dating, now my ex-wife. We had a lot of problems, and I was a little more immature then as well. And when me and her split up, it kind of made me work even harder and made me want to do even more and better in my life. And that's when I started meditating, doing yoga. So I quit eating meat. I stopped listening to music and TV shows and movies and all the little small distractions, society and of life that really don't serve any of us as humanity. And really started focusing on putting positivity and good things inside my brain and feeding myself with that as much as possible on a daily, and I still do that on a daily basis, whenever I can. Even on a drive, to the office, or while working out or while going on a walk, I'm filling my mind with positive energy with people, Wayne Dyer and Joe Dispenza and T.D. Jakes, and even like Denzel and Jim Carrey, that do motivational stuff, and speeches on YouTube and different platforms. And that's really, really helped me, because I always wanted to find a mentor or somebody to help me directly, and I felt like I just couldn't find it, so I had to make my own, and that my own ended up being all these different amazing souls that put their content out there to let us hear it. So I kind of take in from all of them, take little golden nuggets and tips and advice from the books I read, and continue on a daily basis to keep implementing good things and positivity in my life, which is, got me to where I am now. And I said this yesterday, I believe, when I was talking to somebody on a Facebook post, is I still kind of am like a baby, in my growth, in my business, in my spirituality and everything. But I love it. Every day I get to learn something more and get to practice more of it, of sharing even here on the show with you and your listeners as well. It's also a huge part of my growth and my healing, being able to do this. So.
Powerful, man. It's some very, very powerful stuff. Well, I want to say to our listeners, if you just joined the show, we're talking to Rocky Singh. He's talking about his life, his story, and his success, and we actually talking about his hair business as well. If you'd like to ask some questions, and this really goes out to the females, if you answer some questions, the call-in number is 646-929-2870. Press number 1 on your phone. Let us know you're there. We'll be glad to let you in and ask your questions. And I know Rocky can tell you about that hair thing, for real. Don't be shy. Just
100%.
So, Rocky, I like the subtopic we have today, change your mindset to change your life. I know we just touched on that just a little bit, man, but let's speak on that just a little bit more, because a lot of people, they always know what the problem is. They always talk about the problems, but they have less solutions for some reason.
Definitely. And, that's something that's kind of, I've implemented in my mindset, even with my business, is I don't really accept excuses anymore. And instead of even taking any time to look at the excuse or think about it, we start shifting our minds to be solution-based and solution-oriented. Those solutions do come up. It's not always easy. Sometimes they're tougher decisions and tougher choices to make. But if you focus too much on the problem, you're taking away from the time you could focus on the solution, and that's where mindset comes in. It took me a little bit of time to understand this, and now I know it, truly in my heart that changing the way you think, changing the way you frame things, and the way your mind actually looks at things and situations and things that happen to you in the world around you is so powerful. I truly believe that we do create our own realities, and that starts with the way you think about it. 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, sometimes I was still getting in fights, getting pulled over, meeting the wrong people, getting sucked into things I don't need to be in, until I started really changing the way I think and changing the way I feel about myself and my mind and what I want. And I no longer have those issues. I don't get into situations that are tough and bad. It's a vibe, it's an energy, but that definitely starts from you, from within, from what you're thinking about, what you're concentrating on, and what you're putting your energy into. So I even used to laugh at it in the beginning, like this is not, like, this is crazy. Like, you don't just think a little bit differently and things start changing. But I encourage anybody out there listening, whether you're an entrepreneur in business or whether you're sitting in prison, whether you're on the way to going to prison, you have complete control over what you decide to think about in your mind. You do have control for that. You can reframe what you're thinking about it. It might take practice. It might take, like me, feeding myself with, YouTube videos and cutting out any kind of music or TV show I was listening to, or any kind of person in my life that was not aligned or conducive to that type of lifestyle that I was looking to create for myself. But it's definitely true, and you can definitely do it, no matter who you are. So I think that's a huge thing. I got this, like I said, from Robin Sharma, Wayne Dyer, Ralph Smart. A lot of these people talk about this a lot. And I also encourage people now, if you're listening and you're curious, don't just listen to us. Don't just take my word for it. Even though I'm telling you, I know it to be true. Get out there and get on YouTube and put some of this information into your mind, and take a step back from whatever it is your identity is, your circles are, your favorite music and TV shows are, and allow yourself to be cleaned by this and to be healed by it, and start implementing it into your life. Day by day. It takes time. Like, healing isn't a race or a fast-paced linear type of thing. It takes ups and downs. It takes understanding, and it takes a constant progress and work. But that's not something that anybody cannot do. I believe everybody can do that. And like you said, it starts with the mindset. It starts with what you want. It starts with being sick of anything else that you want to be with and wanting something more and believing that there is something more and better. And then, putting that in your head and start working on it on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that was another powerful jewel, man, because that was definitely my question that could come was what did you implement, but you just laid it out so eloquently. I can't even ask that question now because you told listeners exactly what to do to fix the situation. Because there's so many times, man, people don't even know how to get out of their own way.
Exactly.
And to me, that's simple, but it's not simple to a lot of people. How do you get out of your own way? And if they looked in the mirror, truly looked in the mirror, I think all and each and every one of us, we know what the issue is. And a lot of times we even know what to do about it. We just don't take that next step.
Exactly. And that step is so important. I think, like you said, like the ones of us that can look in the mirror and that we know what it is, like that is kind of the first step. But don't get stuck there. Don't get scared. Face those fears you have of letting go of, whatever you think you are right now, and understand and believe that you can do anything you want to do. And what is it that you want to do, and start implementing that. It takes time. It takes effort. To face yourself. Like I remember even 6-9 months ago, especially when COVID started, I quit smoking weed, and a lot of times people that I know as well, we use substances and things like this and addictions to kind of cover up and to kind of blind ourselves from having to look within, because it's painful. It hurts. I spent a good couple months like pulling my hair out on the couch, sitting at home alone, like just crying randomly, being upset with myself, back and forth, and eventually, it came to a point where when I wouldn't have to cry. I would kind of laugh and be like, "Oh, Rocky, you're getting past this. You're finally, you're not masking your mind and your brain, your clarity with a substance. You're facing it direct and head on." And I didn't know I was, but I was slowly starting to heal it just by doing that. And it's a very powerful thing. I encourage anybody out there, even if you think that you're just smoking weed every day casually, take a step back from it. Take a couple months even. I haven't smoked regularly since February. I had a few times here and there. I've taken a couple puffs, and after I gave myself a lot of time to get it out of my system and really think clearly and really build myself. But anything that we do on a daily basis, we think that we're in control, but those things control us, and you don't want to control yourself to the point where you're hiding your emotions and masking things to where you can't really face it and you can't face yourself. Because once you do it and you go through the pain, you realize that it was all part of the journey. It was all necessary. And now you're moving on to a new phase and a new beautiful chapter of it, where you get to be in control of the things that you control. And it's your life, that's your mindset, that's the decisions you make, of what to put in your body, of what to put in your mind. And, from there, the possibilities are actually, endless. So I'm working on so many things right now, and I get overwhelmed at times, but I know, how to take care of myself and step back and relax for a couple of days and then go right back into it, because I did face myself, and I did face the down, dirty, ugly parts, and really got real with what I was doing and how I was, like you said, getting in my own way. And once you get out of your own way, there's not too much else that can get in your way. The small things, like for me with Uber and Airbnb this morning, even I'll get it taken care of. It was a little bit disappointing, but I'll definitely get it taken care of, because I'm no longer in my own way stopping it from happening. It's just paperwork or, finding a shift or a different route to go around it and make it work to make it happen now. It's no longer Rocky, the one, stopping me or limiting me or telling myself I can't do it. It's just small things that you have to do as part of life.
And it's funny, too, because of that situation, man, it just might not have been meant for you. It might just been meant for you to do bigger and better things.
Exactly.
There's always a positive, man. It takes us a minute sometime to see it, you know what I mean? Because especially when you're going through a situation where you feel like I done turned my cheeks so many times, I don't even have any cheeks left, and then I think that's what take people to, the alcohol or to the substances and stuff like that. And because you're just trying and, you're working, you're trying, you're working, and you're just getting slapped this way, that way. And then society today doesn't help anyway no more. Everybody's into themselves, even though they say they're not, they are. Very few people that really is going to be there, when you need them. And the ones that you need, you don't even have to tell them that you need them. If they're close enough to you, they kind of see and kind of know, what you're going through. I mean, the real ones anyway, the real friends.
Exactly, and friends is a big, important topic. I think I don't know who said it, but many people have. Show me the 5 people you spend the most time around. I'll show you, your future. I'll show you the person that you are. And for me, what I've learned in my life is that I used to be the person that wanted, 30, 40 friends around all the time, or invite everybody over into my house. I thought I was just, really amazing, popular person that had all these great friends that cared about me. When I went to prison, nobody really wrote me anything. I had a couple random girls send me pictures, and that's it. None of my homeboys, none of my good friends are there. And now, in my life, I think I would say I have two best friends, and one's in Korea, one's in America, and we stay in touch. And I'm happy with that. I'm not, I'm in LA. I don't really have many other friends in LA. I have some acquaintances and business people, but it's not something that I'm any longer, torn up about. I don't feel lonely. I know that I have great friends, amazing friends that are in touch with me and that know me and that know when I need a phone call or a touch base or just to vent and chat with them, and they're there, and I'm there for them as well. We don't need these huge circles of close friends. We just need 1 or 2 people that are good people in our lives that that care about us, that we care about, and that's really all all we need, and just that.
And another thing, you can't look for them, man. God send them to you. Because sometimes when we go looking for stuff, we find all the wrong things.
I agree. I feel like when you're looking for something like that, you're kind of putting it out there that you're lacking it. As soon as you start putting that energy out there, it's like not having of lacking. That's kind of more of what you attract. When you just get better within yourself, like I did. I spent a lot of time alone, a lot of time. I told you, just crying, just kind of feeling like I was losing my mind a little bit, but I was, in reality healing and going through it. Shortly after that, everything else, kind of came to me. And I realized, I have Sean, I have Nick, I have my best friends. They're there. They're different places of the world, but, they have been through the thick, through the thin, through the good, through the bad, for, 15 years plus, both of them. So.
Definitely a powerful story, Rocky. Let's change the channel real quick, man, because I know we started out talking about you being the hair guy. Let's get back over that, man, because I know we got a lot of female listeners out there that definitely interested in hear a little bit more about your hair business.
Definitely. So the reason I kind of came into the hair industry when I started researching it, I saw we used to call my cellmate's sister and friend from prison on a snuck-in cell phone and talk about, what's going on in the market, what do we need to do, like, how can we be successful? And the biggest thing we heard was like, man, there's so many scammers and there's so many people that lie and aren't being real and not being transparent. And I was like, wait, that's kind of natural with me. I'm a real person. I'm gonna be real. Let me go ahead and start operating this business in that sense. And that's what I do. I give small business owners, stylists, salons, girls working from home, guys that do hair, the ability to efficiently and confidently run their businesses, knowing that they're being backed up by a supplier that is not only connected with them 24/7 in any way they want to, but also is transparent in what he does in his factory and travels back and forth to India to make sure he's able to maintain that quality over time. And the small team I've built, we're very close. We all know each other for many, many years. Miranda, my chief of staff, I actually met in college, and they're very aligned with the transparency and openness and the connection that Hair Made India brings to the table for all of our business clients. And that's an industry that's riddled with misinformation and scammers and downright liars and bad product. That is so important, so necessary. We all work hard to deliver that on a daily basis to all of our wholesale clients, all of our business-to-business partners. I have girls that I've worked with for years now that were even, going to law school and, getting on this corporate career where they would be in these 9-to-5 jobs where they didn't really feel aligned with doing that have let go of those paths and started working with us. And one in particular I'm speaking about, just I think 9 months ago, bought herself a brand new Mercedes. She's in the showroom at least once a week, picking up new orders, doing amazingly well. And the reason that some businesses fail and some succeed are there's tons of reasons. But we at Hair Made in India give you all the tools and the team that you need to be backed up, to move forward, to confidently run your business the way you want to, from wherever you want to in the world. And that's the value that we add to the table.
So, Rocky, so basically you're operated more so as a supplier of hair that comes out of India?
Exactly. We supply, like I said, small businesses, larger businesses, stores, stylists that do hair from home, anybody and everybody.
So, for me that don't really know anything about the hair business, are there different types of hair that you supply, or is this hair that come out of India a specialty product?
It's definitely a specialty product. People, like I said about the misinformation, that people think there's a Brazilian hair and Yaki hair and mink hair and this and that. And that's kind of what the market did to segment and confuse and increase profits in a lot of ways. And what we do is that we have our hair direct from the temples, segmented into two different qualities, which is a North and a South Indian quality. One is more raw, one is more rare, one is, easier to bleach. But we don't, kind of dip down into that level of mixing hair, of adding synthetics in, adding fillers in. We keep our level and our quality high there. Which is it's a tough business because we have to compete with these companies that say they have the same thing, when in reality they don't. They're basically increasing their bottom line and making tons of money off of bad products, and they operate on a system such as this. Like they know for a fact that 30% of their clients are going to be unhappy. They know that out of that 30%, maybe only 20 will actually reach out and say something and want money back. They know out of that 20% that maybe 10% will actually go through and initiate a refund process. And out of that 10%, they know that they'll fight it and that they might win or they might lose 5% of that. So it comes down to those numbers, and they say, you know what, we can keep the hair quality very low, keep the prices, where we're making a lot of money. And if that 5% that we get disputes and chargebacks on, we can't win, that's part of our business model. And for me, that's just not something that's like, a good, the karma behind that, to me is not, so I don't want that on my shoulders, on my plate at all. I'd rather give a good quality product, make a little bit less money, but make more connections. And in the beginning, I didn't have many clients. Now I have so many clients that the profit margin doesn't matter as much because I'm doing so much volume.
Well, that's what happens when you become successful and providing a good service. I mean, basically, that speaks for itself. Well, Rocky, tell everybody, man, how they can get in touch with you, man, how they can get in touch with your product and all that good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So, like I said before, I'm very transparent. I'm open. I like handling. I'm very connected to this business. I love what I do. I am a real person. You can reach out to me directly at my cell phone number, which is 228-596-5678. You can find me online for my business is hairmaidenindia.com, and that's spelled maiden like your mother's maiden name, so hair, MAIDEN, and then India, INDIA.com. We also are on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, everything out there with the same handle, Hair Made in India. Me personally, my name is Rocky Singh Candola, and my website is just rockycandola.com. All this information is very, very public, very, very easily searchable on Google. And I kind of joke and say I'm pretty much one of the easiest people in America to find. So you go to the Google search bar, type in Rocky Singh Candola, type in Hair Made in India. You're going to have the direct connection directly to me and my team as well. So,
what do you got for bald-headed people, Rocky?
And I got the full setup. For bald-headed people. We got the lace glue, the glueless glue, men's toupees. We got them with microfiber as well as lace. and get you looking just how you want to look again.
Well, because usually when we talk about hair and stuff, you're usually talking about stuff for females. So, in case there's some guys out there that might want some hair.
100%. I actually take people on tours to India as well, and this is something I always wanted to do. I still haven't got to take anyone on a medical tour yet, but the medical aspect of the tours I'm doing in India is, these drugs in America, say Hep C drugs, like drugs of hepatitis C. I think the course to get, for in America is somewhere around $80,000. In India, I can offer you something like that for closer to $10,000. As far as hair transplant surgery here in LA, I looked up, anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000, depending on what you want. I actually had a hair transplant surgery done on myself. I posted it on my personal Instagram. I had it done for less than $1,000. A LASIK eye surgery, I had it done for less than $1,000 with NASA-approved technology that they wanted, close to $4,000 or $5,000 here in America. So what I can do for you on that basis, men, women, anyone who wants to go out there for medical tourism, I take you hands-on. You fly in with me. I make sure you stay at the right places. I make sure you eat the right food. I make sure you're safe. And I make sure you have the best medical possible care out there with you. I'm very hands-on when I handle these type of things in businesses, and I'm very well researched. Not only because my father and my family is medical out there and I've lived out there, but as I said, I've also done these surgeries myself. So, I know exactly what the ins and outs of everything is.
Wow, that's some good stuff to know, man. I'm sure some of our people are going to be getting that with you because I know that hair thing is a really, really big business. I hear people talk about it, I hear different women talk about it, getting their hair done this way, that way, and the pieces, and I'll be trying to figure out what they're talking about. I have no clue, but I listen anyway.
Yeah, it's a deep industry. There's a lot of stuff that's involved with hair. So I think it's a $27 billion a year market. So
wow.
Huge. Tons of different options and things inside of it.
I would have never thought that. I would have never, ever thought that. By no means. So what's next in store for you, Rocky?
So yeah, the business is going well. I'm always going to be connected to it. I love doing what I do. I love helping other businesses grow. And as I'm on the podcast with you, I really want to start, because this kind of stuff, like I told you, it helps me heal, helps me grow. I've always had this thing of wanting to help people, inspire people, and change things. And my next steps, as far as me personally, I would like to do more of this, especially when COVID is done. I'd love to be able to fly into a school in a small city that doesn't have opportunities to get talks like this and hear about people's stories and find experience and hope and strength from it. I like to do that all over the world. I'm writing a book currently, which I'll be releasing, shortly as well. That'll coincide, and talk about the same types of things. As far as Hair Made in India, we're growing and scaling every day. So it's almost an autopilot. I was actually blessed with a team good enough to allow me to do more of the speaking, more of the writing, and that's what I'm getting into, because that's really what fulfills me and fulfills my heart. We do have other products, from shampoos, conditioners, the hair gels, all coming out as well. Everything is just kind of moving really nicely and fluidly and smoothly. I'm actually working on a master class right now to teach people about the hair business. My girlfriend and I is helping me out with that. And we'll be offering that course, maybe in the next couple of months as well, so people can really have a platform and a base to come to, structured to learn how to start a business, a hair business, without. Because the biggest thing in this business is no one wants to help you. I looked for help in the beginning. No one was there to help me.
Rocky,
and a lot of people out there.
I don't want to cut you off, man, but I need to jump in down here because we're in the last 40, 50 seconds of the show, man. I definitely want to thank you for coming through, man, and open the doors so you can come back through anytime, man, because I definitely like your journey, your story, man. I think a lot of people can learn and benefit from some of the things you've been going through, and I know you're going to be successful, continue to be successful, and I hope we can get to talk again soon. Definitely, I would love to. Thank you again for having me. Oh, man. Everybody, If you miss some of this show, you have no excuse. Ask your mama, ask your daddy, ask the band that live across the street or the guy that work at the gas station. You can hear the show in its entirety worldwide on all the platforms in about 2 minutes. I appreciate you. Go check out Rocky. He got something for your head, and let him know that you got it from here. Love you. See y'all next week.
Hey, I'm Savin Gavia, and you are now listening to Can I Play It Play live every Sunday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check out these good fellas at www.facebook.com/player.
Hello?